We did a thing. For the first time, maybe ever, we read the same book in the same month.
I thought you were going to say we committed murder. Oh.
But they're not supposed to know about that one. Anyways, we'll be back to talk about Six of Crows. Welcome to the Dormer. I'm Michael. The daughter is here too because she's back. She's actually back to reading books that weren't assigned for her.
That's so mean.
You get assigned a lot of books.
I get assigned a lot of AP documents. It's abuse.
She signed up for it on purpose, so not sure how much abuse. But she's back. And we both, this month, decided to break out and read The Six of Crows. All right, so she's got the paperback?
Yes, the better edition, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, the more affordable edition, that was $11.99 according to the back.
Yup.
This isn't. This is the LitJoy annotated edition, which definitely is fun because it gives some insights as you're going along. Six of Crows. Mm-hmm. Your first Leigh Bardugo?
Yeah.
All right, now give them a thumbs up or thumbs down just to start it. Well, that's not a solid thumb up. Wow.
Well, we gotta talk about that later.
All right. Hey, first, real fast, this is going to be anything's allowed. So full spoiler. Neither of us have read the second book.
Yeah.
Hopefully you didn't see too many spoilers today. You really shouldn't.
I saw one on accident. I was scrolling through Instagram and then it just popped up without my knowledge. It did not give me a warning. I was like,
Well, if you want to know anything more about the books, there's another video I made about at least what we had at the time, the 4 copies of Six of Crows, which is kind of surprising we had 4 copies of Six of Crows considering neither of us had read it. Ridiculous. Yeah, book collecting kind of gets weird. All right, let's roll. Characters. Tell us, who's the main? Who would you say is the protag?
Probably Kaz.
Probably. So what's Kaz?
The moody bad boy. Ooh.
The moody bad boy.
He tries to be morally gray, but he really isn't. Wow.
No, he's morally gray.
Yeah.
He presents himself as morally black. But he's actually morally gray. This is what? Another edition. This is the UK's edition. That would be Kaz.
Yeah.
All right. Kaz's... What would you even call this? His lady who is not his lady? His situationship. Oh, I like that one. The guy is brave as nails, walks in any room and demands to be respected and take over. Can't tell the girl he likes. Hey, by the way, I like you. Also, it's interesting that you're just going to hold the book there that whole time.
I don't know where to put it.
You can set it on the arms if you want. It's up to you.
Put it on top of your book. It's not
okay, that's not going to work. Knock that off.
There we go.
Well, we have Bookhenge now created. Who does he like?
Enish.
And what is she?
The Wrath?
Yeah. What else would What else would you say she is? What's her skill set? What's her...
She's basically what they call, a spider, where she, crawls around and spies on people, but it's, seen as, invisible.
And yet can also save the day and keep him alive.
And stab people.
And stab people. By the way, these characters are supposed to be young. They definitely are acting... They seem older, but they all have backstories on why.
I think, Kaj and Enish are 17, I believe.
Or I thought they were 18s.
No, none of them were 18. I was a bit stunned. I was like,
oh.
Y'all are more productive than I am.
They're way more productive than I was at that age. All right, those are the big 2 in the first grouping, if you would. We have 2 other characters who are definitely tied together, which is Mateus and Nina.
Yeah.
One of the nice things about Nina. Well, what do you... First off, what did you think of Nina?
I don't know. I just, she was kind of mid at the beginning, and then she started getting, a little bit annoying, but then she got cool, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think she might be my favorite character in the book.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think she's certainly the most likable of the characters in the book. But you're just liking Moody Wolf Dude.
No.
Matthias is Moody Wolf Dude. Matthias and Nina have a really interesting backstory on them.
Yeah. Oh my god, wait, I just remembered. Matthias's fan art's wrong. Not fan art, is it official art? The art in the book.
The art in this book?
Yeah. Because isn't he supposed to be bald since he came out of prison? And they messed up his head? And Nina would not shut up about it?
Oh, that's a good question. Because here he is looking like a vampire lord, but yet werewolf mode.
Yeah.
So a werewolf vampire. And there's Nina. One of the things I like that Leigh Bardugo did in this, Nina is not small. She purposely wrote in a different body shape. And I think that, but wrote her in as somebody that people pay attention to anyways.
Yeah.
Right, that's a little bit of positively. Now, all the boys are the typical pretty boys from YA.
Yeah. Yeah.
And each is, well, I guess kind of mousy, but yet cute mousy.
Yeah, she's yeah, they kept on calling her really skinny.
Yeah, super skinny, but you're the way, Wraith, right? She can climb through anything and get in and save everybody. Which she will do a few times. All right, and then so let's talk the last two. The last two took a while to become a pair. They're the other two that were in the book.
Yeah. The book was kind of just slow at the beginning. Anyway.
We can go for that, but introduce your last two. Who are you thinking?
We have Jesper and Wylan.
Okay.
We have the Pew Pew Man and the Redhead.
And
yep.
I'm glad you didn't call him the redhead while I was reading it, because I just started pitching, Ron Weasley!
Stop! Oh my god.
Okay, just, Wylan! Keep doing that. The sequel's going to be rough now. Let's see, on those two, they definitely, I think it's kind of slow rolled. Because this is a heist. This is a true classic heist novel. It takes quite a while. You have the setups. You got to introduce characters. We have to introduce backstory, because every character in this has a true backstory. Mm-hmm. 5 of the 6 are point of view characters. Wylan does not get a point of view character in this, but apparently is a character in the next book.
Womp womp.
I'm not sure that's much of a spoiler.
Yeah, that's not.
All right, so it starts off. We've got Kaz fighting for territory. Because he is a gang, he is the lieutenant in a gang.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so he doesn't run the gang, but yet he runs the gang.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
He just don't got that money, so.
Yeah. And he's got a Nidge, who is his super protector. Mm-hmm. And then you've got multiple other people following him in this gang.
Yep.
And they go take big risks. Their primary... It's just, you said this was slow. Actually, I kind of like this. I like that there's an economics piece at the beginning.
Yeah.
So Ketterdam is divided up. There's different criminal organizations that prey upon outsiders primarily and themselves, right? The poor. I mean, the criminal groups always prey on the poor. That is the first people who are going to get preyed upon. Even though it seems like they would have the least money, that's just traditionally how things are done. Mm-hmm. And then he had set up, using some of their money from a gambling hall, they set up a dock and started making it into a tourist attraction, which is brilliant. I like the economics as being kind of like the crime lord economics piece that they were doing.
Oh. Did you take notes on this? Or did you just remember that?
I just remember things.
Oh, I probably zoned that part out. I was like, boring, get to the murder already. Come on, you can do it.
So this is what happens is, in the book, my version of the book was 630 some pages. I think it's 456 is yours.
Yeah.
Bigger the annotations take up space, right? So there's really big margins in my version.
Margins are like that big.
So Leigh Bardugo can write neat things about it in there. So we keep going. He sets it up. He battles and has it out with a rival gang and wins.
But the traitor.
But there's a traitor in the midst. Dun, dun, dun. So like any good crime organization, there's always somebody who's a traitor. Mm-hmm. In fact, there could be traitors in the mix. Ooh. They then, through the first part of the book, they're Kaz doing Kaz things, taking over, and then he gets an offer. He gets a super rich merchant, shows up, and the super rich merchant wants his services to go do a heist.
We didn't talk about the first chapter.
What do you want in the first chapter?
The backstory, or the part that we were talking about now.
I forgot it. All right, go for it.
Okay, so we have this soldier guy, and there's like this magical healing girl that he likes named Anya, which is really bad when you like watch Spy X Family and you keep picturing it like a 5-year-old, even though it's like romantic, and you're like, that's illegal. Anyway, so
right. Then yeah, so this was almost a prologue, but it turned out to be not, because it's the characters in the first part of the book.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
Anyway, there's a magic drug called...
Like I remember.
The drug's name is Gerda.
Gerda?
Yeah.
Okay, so Gerda makes the Grisha, which are the wizards, super, super powerful. Mm-hmm. But with a cost?
Turns them into addicts.
Addicts, and when we finally come back to meeting her, after they've made her into an addict,
they make her into an insane addict that, like, basically kills her.
And?
Oh, before that, she can, like, kind of, like, mind control people now. So she kind of kills, like, a bunch of people.
She told everyone to stay as she left. Yeah. And then she died.
Yeah.
But they stayed and did not eat, and did not drink, and fell dead.
Yeah.
Including the boy who liked her.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's this guy. This guy is the one who set this up.
Yeah.
So the Grisha worked for him, because in this land, which does not allow slavery, they have slavery. Like a super strong version of indentured servitude.
Yeah.
So basically, you're not leaving. But they're going to pretend it's indentured servitude.
They do this through contracts that some of them can't even read. So sad.
So basically, again, history.
Yeah.
So we fast forward. This guy now wants something. Mm-hmm. He's identified a person who can make this, what do you call it? The drug?
Gerda.
The Gerda. This person is, unfortunately, been captured and is being held by...
The Ice Court.
The Ice Court. Now I say it like that, it sounds like Night Court. But the Ice Court. The Ice Court is the enemy of the Grisha. And if you read the prequel, well, the previous trilogy in this series...
Shadow and Bone? Right?
Is it Shadow and Bone in this one?
Yeah. I think that was, like, before. Because it has its own TV show on Netflix.
Oh, apparently there's TV shows for this.
Not for Six of Crows, though.
Well, what's that on your book cover? Flip your book.
It says, for Shadow and Bone.
Oh. Okay, yeah, Shadow and Bone trilogy, and then after it is the King of Scars. Oh. Okay. I have not read, I actually have them over there. So if you love being frustrated more, I read reviews where people say this is the better series because authors pick up their skill sets. Mm-hmm. And she is definitely doing some layering in here.
Yeah.
So you have, and even some red herrings in here. Mm-hmm. All right, so this fella, he wants Kaz to go do this impossible task. Mm-hmm. A true Mission Impossible, a Mission Impossible with a rescue. Kaz upsells him. This guy tells him that it's the Merchant Council that wants it. Mm-hmm. Spoiler. You should probably double check things when the random person is willing to pay you millions more than any job is worth.
30 million cruise.
30 million, 4 million, which is enough to make 4 out of 5 of the crows, or 4 out of the 6 of the crows, solve their dreams.
Yeah.
They think. Reality, maybe it would have worked for 2.
Yeah.
Maybe. If. Yeah, spoilers. All right, so right about the halfway point, they decide they're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So this is halfway into a book, and we haven't yet started the heist.
That sucked.
It is a very long prep on the heist.
Boo. It's giving me traumatic flashbacks to Babel.
Babel should have been a heist.
Babel felt like a heist.
Heist of your time.
A Dark Academia heist, the worst thing that could ever possibly happen. With, like, the amount of waiting that the Dark Academia has, and then the amount of waiting that the heist novel has, and you just combine them.
Wow.
That would be, like, this entire book worth of just, like, waiting for something to start.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, since we're going full spoiler. There actually is a second book. Right? This book is not a complete book. This book is the complete heist theory, but then it ends on a giant super spoiler that you can't leave alone.
Ooh.
Be a shame if somebody didn't have the sequel.
I'll just steal your copy.
I thought you didn't like my copy.
I'll steal it from you anyway.
So you do like heists?
Well, it depends. Are you revealing the ending yet?
Well, no, you were stealing the book from me. That's a heist. Or she's got to get a team of experts together, right? Because this is what you do in a heist, right? You always get a team of people who have unique skill sets. So you got like the ninja, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
You have the mystic healer, / charmer. You have the barbarian warlord dude. You have the sharpshooter, because there's guns in this world. And then you have the kid who's pretending to be the explosives guy.
Okay, are we ready for this? Got me, myself, and I for all the useful people. Then we got my dog for the barbarian. Then we got my brother to be the explosives guy. Because he can explode. It's fine.
Do not give him permission to make explosives. Do not do that.
My bad.
So the book dormer's the ice court then? In that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just hide the book somewhere. You won't be able to find it.
Does that mean I can, like, rearrange your books in the rainbow order
No.
if I don't find
She's wanting to rainbowify my books again.
Because, again?
You did the one shelf.
No,
There is
you
a rainbow
did that.
shelf up
You
there, right
did
there,
that.
by the way.
If you guys give this 10 likes...
No, we do not do that. That's horrible. 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. All right, so they're getting teamed up. They're ready to go. They go down to the ship where they're going to leave from and get a super ambush.
Yay.
Very bloody fight. It's obvious somebody knew they were going.
Mm-hmm.
But Kaz, because Kaz is super smart and doesn't trust anybody, already had a second boat ready. He faked everybody out. Because Kaz never misses a thing. Except for the one giant thing he misses that gets them all almost killed.
Mm-hmm.
But other than a little plot armor and Kaz was all money being waved in front of him. Which is true. People will lower their defenses if they think there's enough reward for it. They'll take bigger risks. And this is a huge risk because they think everyone's going to die. They think. So they go, I mean, heavens be, even before they hit this, they had to break out Mr. Barbarian / Paladin. They had to break him out of prison.
Oh, yeah.
Nina wanted to break him out. And to thank him, what does he do for Nina?
Chokes her.
And tries to kill her.
Yo, that's so romantic. Totally.
Let's go into their plot a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, she was captured.
Yeah. She was a Grisha soldier in training, I believe?
Yeah. Who got sent to who volunteered and talked her way into going to help.
Yeah. And then she stumbled upon a Dreskel camp And she tried to, like, act all innocent and not try to get everyone else involved. And then she was captured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Driscoll are apparently the people from the first series, the Shadow and Bone. They are very much like a stoic Russian group. And they hate the Grisha and capture them. Then there is the boat is sunk. She saves him. They roam together for, gosh,
3 weeks?
That was a long chapter. Flirting way harder than they probably should. That's when we find out that Nina doesn't quite have everybody else's sense of modesty. They definitely seem to like each other. He was falling for her. And then for some reason, when they get found by somebody, she declares that he's a slaver.
Well, they reveal why.
Why did she?
Because she found some other Grisha, and the other Grisha recognized her. So then they were about to capture Mateus, and she thought this is the best way to get her and Mateus out of the port before the other Grisha capture him. So then she was planning to explain to the guy who, like, she told was, like, her being captured or whatever, like, her being kept as slavery. Yeah. Anyway. But that didn't happen, basically, and he got sent to jail.
And his name ruined, his career, his legacy destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was mad. And in the jail, which apparently is super horrible jail, he's having to do pit fights and things like that. Because if you do pit fights, you can get stuff. And
even worse, he has to kill one of his own, like, people, the wolves. He has to fight one and kill.
Yeah, they were definitely messing with him. Oh, you like wolves? Here's a wolf to fight. All right, so they rescue him, talk him down from murdering Nina, who doesn't explain away. I guess she could have probably, hey, let me tell you what I was doing. That might have been a good idea. But instead, they keep that. I don't know if I remember that part about why she turned him in. Huh. Must have just slipped my brain. Maybe it was the rush to get through.
Yeah.
So we have an explanation for why she did that. They finally get on the boat. They leave. They go. Naturally, they get dropped off and kind of stranded. And like once again, now they're walking in snow.
Yay! I always picture that scene when I'm going to the bus stop now, because it's like snowing, and I'm just like, I have to go. I'm like them.
Yeah.
It was like -3 this morning. I can't.
It was not.
It was. It felt like -3.
It was 13.
It felt like -3.
13 Fahrenheit, by the way. So Celsius crowd, that's -10.5. So they finally make their way to the ice palace. And the only way in, because this thing is super, super Fort Knox level mecha defended. So the way they're going to break in is by taking prisoners' places. Break their way in as prisoners. So they get captured, get in, and then they're going to break their way out. Then they're going to use that to break their way into the super party that's happening.
Using plans from a soldier who hasn't been there in months. And a random rich boy who went there years ago as a kid. Such solid information, guys.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
You go in, you start your heist, and things go horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah. And we get some of Kaz's backstory.
All right. What's his backstory that we care about?
Well, like, just the part they revealed during this part, or the entire
Let's go that part.
I don't remember where they stopped at.
So Kaz and his brother had inherited a farm, sold it, went to town, and got tricked by a banker who is an evil person.
Who was kind of like a father figure for them.
Who stole all their money.
Yeah.
And hosed them over. And then, so Kaz is blaming his brother's death, because his brother died of a plague that went through.
Yeah, because they had to go to, like, the poorer side town.
Yeah. And so, and then Kaz was on the streets homeless. Well, they were both on the streets homeless for a while.
Did they reveal the part with, like, the bodies, though?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, basically kind of big part. He does also get sick, and he was, like, knocked out, and I don't know who put them in, but, like, soldiers or something. They thought he was dead, so they put him in, like, the river of dead bodies.
So they'd have barges they would take out and either dump or burn.
Yeah. So he kind of had to, like, swim on his dead brother's body to get back to shore.
Yeah. And so he doesn't like to touch.
Yeah.
He always wears gloves. He does not like to touch others, which is probably rough in his dating life. So Kaz doesn't like to touch. Has a girl who he likes. She obviously likes him, but she's not picturing him as her long term. Like, she likes him, but she's got plans. Mm-hmm. She's gonna go do her thing. Mm-hmm. So they finally get to the party. Mm-hmm. The two of them sneak in, and it immediately goes bad. Or the two girls sneak in, one of which gets stopped and immediately rounded up. So Nina has to go do everything herself. Is immediately recognized for what she is by the paladins, who, along with Mateus, capture her. Right? Mm-hmm. Looks like the classic super betrayal. What do you think? When that hit, what was your thought?
Honestly, I thought in, like, the beginning that Mateus was going to betray her, but I didn't think it would be to, like, the Dreskel. I thought he was going to snitch her out to Kaz, because they were planning to murder the scientist guy when they got there.
Yeah, so the scientist is the guy who can make that drug.
Yeah.
And they're the two of them. Mateus wants it stopped so the Grisha don't get strong. Mm-hmm. Nina wants it stopped because it basically makes slaves out of the Grisha.
Yeah.
So they're both wanting to kill this guy. Yeah. Meanwhile, the other 4 members of the group are there to rescue him, bring mm-hmm. him back to get money. Mm-hmm. Which is what you do. As one does. But they show up and the guy's dead anyways. But his kid's there, so they're going to bring the kid back.
Yeah.
The kid who the bad guys, the Driscoll, have been making work in horrible conditions. They're making him work. And of course, it's on the most protected area.
Yeah.
Which happens to be where the party is. Because that's what you do. Apparently, if you have the most super powerful thing that could turn the tide of balance in any war, you obviously put it where all the party guests come.
It wasn't where the party guests were, but...
It's still in the same protected zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
right. They had to
right.
walk a while, though.
They had to walk a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be inside the map. It's inside the protected zone in here. Oh. And there's all these security setups to where if anything happens, this whole area is locked down. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of that going on.
There was also parts to talk about with Enish during the time Nina was doing her thing.
What was happening to Enish?
So, a little bit of backstory. Enish came from... Do you remember what country? You have a map. I do not have said map.
Why? Oh, your version doesn't have a map.
She came from Ravka. And when she was 14, she was kidnapped by slavers that apparently aren't slavers. And they forced her to sign a contract that isn't in a language she speaks. And basically go work at a pleasure house as a 14-year-old. Yeah. And then it shows how, like, she kind of flirted with Kaz when he first showed up. Because he was, like, the lady who won the pleasure house, he had, like, a deal with her for, like, information. And that made Kaz notice her because he didn't realize that she walked up. So he got her out of the pleasure house and she joined his crew. But as a way to sneak into the party, Enish and Nina dress up as people from the menagerie.
Menagerie.
That is the name of the pleasure house that she used to work at, and she like dressed up like she still worked there, but she was caught almost immediately from the lady who used to run it and snitched her out to the dress gal. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna take this part out because I was wrong.
Oh my god. So does that mean Enish is actually your favorite character?
She is the coolest character.
she's the best character.
She's the one who we haven't seen break her shell yet.
What do you mean?
She had the least to almost no change in the story.
She did though.
How?
Because she was like kind of... So her plans originally at the beginning of the story was she might go back to her home country, but she was really nervous because she didn't think her parents would recognize her, so she didn't really have the confidence. But through where she had to escape the prison and climb the incinerator, she realized, screw Kaz, screw his plans, she's gonna go become a sailor and destroy slavery.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I wonder how long she'd been keeping that plan. I think it was just the money. I think because her cut would be $4 million, and that was enough to get a crew and a ship and go off and go murder mode on some slavers.
Yeah. And she did kind of have a mental breakdown while climbing like a 60-foot chimney.
Yeah, with your shoes burning and your hands burning.
And plastic being stuck to your feet. Very lovely.
And was it plastic or rubber?
Oh yeah, it was rubber.
Yeah, I figured it'd be rubber. Her favorite shoes. They all have. There's a lot of quirks. That's one of those things. A lot of the characters have a quirk. Like Jesper is a horrible, horrible gambling addict.
Yeah. Something also interesting about the incinerator scene. She was wearing Kaz's gloves, which kind of shows, even though she was like, screw Kaz, she was like slowly but surely getting closer to him at the same time.
When she had gotten out of the prison.
Yeah.
Prison infirmary. In fact, I might have a picture of that one.
The reason like she was like being burnt is because they actually changed like what schedule they run their incinerator. So instead of running it in the morning, they ran it at the afternoon. Because
it's a heist and everything goes awry.
Yeah.
So she was going to have this sneak out path that was the escape from the Death Star path. And nope, things were on.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up getting them all out. And they get the body. So they get the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And they bring the kid. They make their big escape.
Mm-hmm.
Matthias and Nina are the ones who actually got the kid, and they're not going to kill the kid.
Yeah.
They want the father dead. The kid they don't think can do it, and neither of them were comfortable killing the kid. But at this point, Matthias has warmed a little bit. His anger has relented some. Some? A lot?
A little bit.
I think he was ready to get back with Nina at that point.
Yeah.
I think he was, oh, yeah, you told him I was a slaver and you ruined my life. But other than that, yeah, we're back in.
Oh, something we didn't mention. Jesper and Wylan. Okay.
Yep.
Let's place a bet. Who's going to get together first? Kaz and Enish or Jesper and Wylan?
The two fellas.
Honestly, I think I'm going to bet on Wylan and Jesper because, they are actually flirting with each other.
They both were
heavily flirting.
It came out of left field too. It's like that because they were teasing. So Jesper was definitely the big muscle bound guy teasing the other one, and all of a sudden he just throws out some super flirty line. And I'm like, did I just read that? I was like, yeah, all right, that's happening now. It did slow burn into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like it went from nothing to super flirt, and then it kind of went from there.
It was kind of like an enemies to lovers. Kind of because Jesper used to despise Wylan at the beginning.
Yeah, well, and Wylan had to prove himself. We find out Wylan's only there because he's actually the person who hired Zem's son, who had been basically ostracized out of the family and is living in the slums.
Yeah.
With the rest of them down in the dregs. We didn't mention that they're in the dregs. That's that's the group is the dregs. So it's fun. And in the annotations, she talks about where she came up with certain names for things and characters. Like Kaz had a different name originally.
What was it?
Oh, you're not gonna.
Baz.
Huh?
Baz. It was something similar.
Yeah, it was a name that another author used as a character. So she oh nope, and switched off.
I keep calling him Kai because I swear half of the romanticities in the universe has the main emo guy be named Kai.
Which is funny. I'm not sure I would count this as a romance or romantasy, but yeah, you read a lot of them.
It's
like this is a heist action novel that has romantic subplot. Plots.
Yeah. I was like talking to him earlier and I called Kaz Kai and he's like, who's that? I was like, oh.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So they get back and everything goes perfectly and they get paid and they live happily ever after.
Yep. Totally.
Totally wasn't a setup from the start.
Totally didn't force Nina to go be a drug addict.
She took those by herself.
Yes.
For part of the escape, Nina made a big sacrifice and took the drugs. It sounds like it's heroin. Like
yeah.
The second hit, by the second hit, you're done. The first hit, you might have about a 50% chance of getting addicted.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to remember heroin or crack. It's been a long time since I did like criminal justice stuff back, and we used to have to study it.
Oh.
But one of those was just like super. Like every time you take it, it's like a 50% chance of. I think it's heroin. 50% chance of getting addicted like every time.
Oh my god.
So, and run the stats. You're the stats girl. Like, do 4 hits. And yeah, it's almost impossible not to be caught.
Yeah, that is 1/16 of a chance you got after 1/4. But it doesn't really work like that because it's like by the second you're kind of done. No matter the stats.
This is even worse.
Yeah.
But she did it to save everybody. Got them all out. They then kept her alive.
Yeah. It also made Jesper feel a little guilty because we learned earlier that he's also a Grisha, just not that strong.
Yeah. We also learned he was the mole. He was the one who was setting up and set them up and caused the big fight.
Mm-hmm.
Not because he was purposely bad, because he is a moron who's a gambler and talks too much.
He was trying to save his father's farm. He has a sense of loyalty. Which, talking about loyalty, guess who defended Jesper? Ooh.
Dun dun dun.
Wylan. And then he's like, so Kaz tried to use like Wylan as like kind of like a hostage thing, but then Van Eck, that's his name?
Yeah.
Was like talking shit about Wylan, and it turns out that the kid that they were holding indeed was not Wylan. It was not the kid, it was Wylan. As the kid, like physically looking like it, because Nina was still on her superpower drug. So she was able to turn him in.
Yep. She can body shape things.
Yeah. Which is like why he has like 2 people looking like on his like poster thing.
Yep. So he's now changed his look, but he didn't care.
And then Jesper's like, but I liked your stupid face.
What a great line.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple really good lines in this book.
There's actually like a song called that.
Not in this book.
Yeah, but like there's a song called Your Stupid Face and it's like people arguing. It's so good.
Okay.
I'm not psycho, okay?
First off, one does not disprove the other.
Oh.
don't let her fake it. She's like eh. The ending.
Ending.
Satisfying or not?
Absolutely not. No. I hurt.
Yeah, I was a little pissed. Namely, I would have been okay with it if somebody had said, by the way, it just goes right into book 2.
Yeah.
That would have been, I expected to see a complete wrap up and then the next book be another round of something else. This is really part 1, part 2 of the same book.
I had 2 people tell me, you finished like before me by like a few days because I got off track. And then my friend saw me reading it. She's like, oh my gosh. Because she saw me like close to the end. She's like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
And then the anger strikes.
Yeah. So basically, Ina is just captured because Kaz apparently has a huge flaw called he has emotions but can't process them properly.
Yeah. And he rats her out. He looked at her in a moment of weakness.
Yeah.
And the bad guy's like, oh, her.
Yeah.
And tried to capture her.
With Grisha.
Yeah, with his pet, which this is the guy from the beginning of the book who had Grisha.
Yeah.
So he would have multiple Grisha work for him.
Do you want to talk about the final chapter? The one from Pekka.
Oh, go for it.
So, we're gonna, like, flash back a bit from when they were in, like, the ice court prison. Originally, Kaz and Nina were supposed to go... Wait, it wasn't Kaz and Nina. It was Jesper, Mateus, and Nina were supposed to go and search the cells to make sure the scientist wasn't there. But it switched to Kaz and Nina, because Kaz just felt like it. I don't know. Anyway.
Kaz mode.
I don't remember. Jesper was doing something, so... Anyways, so Nina and Kaz both decide to break off from the plan. Nina's trying to find the scientist to kill him. Meanwhile, Kaz finds Pekka in a cell. When they first got there, they saw some of Pekka's crew being, like, they were on poles, right?
Yeah, they had been ran through and given a pole treatment as it slowly... Yeah.
So
some Vlad stuff.
He finds Pekka in the cell, and we flash, and we just don't see anything else other than that Kaz goes and walks in. But when we go to the last chapter and we see from Pekka's point of view, he tells us that Kaz actually, like, set him free. So we go and...
And this was Kaz, his big plan all along was to kill this man.
Yes.
Like, he is a revenge tale for Kaz. That's why he's willing to take the risk.
Because guess who Pekka is? The banker guy from earlier. Not that hard to guess. I low-key... As soon as he started talking about banker guy, I was like, oh, that's Pekka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he went looking to see... So what had happened is the big bad guy, the mustache-twirling bad guy, he had not just hired Kaz's crew, he actually hired 2 crews.
Yeah.
Pekka's crew also went for this massive amount of money, and they got decimated.
Yeah.
So Pekka lived just because probably they could get information out of him. He was the ringleader, so they put him in jail. And so we see Kaz find him in the cell, and we're like, oh, Kaz going to mess this dude up.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, you're actually, by that point, you're like, yeah, this guy has it coming.
And he walks out with blood on his shirt next time we see Kaz.
Yeah.
His shirt so drenched.
So yeah, that last... It was funny on this book, if they ended with the kidnapping, I think it would have been a stronger ending.
Yeah.
I was a little ticked.
But this is why the protagonist is Kaz, because it ends up with him having to sign a deal with his worst enemy to get his girl back.
Yeah, because he's now going to go save her, bring the crews in. And the worst enemy is like, well, yeah, you got me out of jail, but that was then. What's now? Like, he's still demanding things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kaz is a moron at times.
A little bit.
I would have kind of preferred if he did cut him up.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe he did to some degree. Maybe we don't know.
Maybe.
All right, let's wrap it. How many stars?
4.5.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he actually went a little higher than I did.
How did you go?
Wasn't I like 4.25?
Maybe.
I think I was like 4.25. I think the ending kind of had me a little annoyed at the time. So you probably got a little drop. Well worth reading. I'm hoping that the second book will wrap it up and bring it to a satisfying, because it is a duology.
Yeah.
It's just that second book is thick.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I might have rated the book a little high, but it was the day before Thanksgiving break, and I was stuck at school because of the law. So that was the most entertaining thing there.
The second book's got it by maybe 100 pages.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Another beautiful looking book. And it's annotated. But you don't have a book for that.
Are you going to buy me one? Are you going to Barnes & Noble? You said we could go to Barnes & Noble today, and then we didn't go to Barnes & Noble, so...
You went to Joann's and got fabric instead. Because you're different.
I had to do school. I decided to take a fashion class for, like, art credits. No, that was the worst idea ever. Just take intro to drawing or something.
I don't think there's anybody watching this who will be like, oh, well, okay, I'll change my plans now.
Well, but, like, a big mistake. Don't follow
This was your Kaz moment?
It was like, whoops.
Anyways, thanks for putting up with us. And we actually have read another book recently. We've actually got 3.
3, yeah.
Right? Because Study in Drowning.
Yep.
Which we'll have to do a talk about at some point.
Yay!
And we'll find out if she's ever actually releasing book 2. Because the end of my book has a preview for book 2.
Oh, really? Mine doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a book 2.
Yeah.
And then the eyeballs are the best part.
The eyes.
The eyes are the best part.
Yeah. That was a very interesting book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.